Jordan LC for bloodyelbow.com. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Nathaniel Wood. How's it going, mate?
Very well, thank you, mate. I'm 2 weeks out now, so I'm getting itchy. I'm getting the itchy feels. So yeah, can't wait to just get back in there and do what I do best.
Yeah, and we'll just straight into that. It's UFC London. Um, what's it like for you being on these cards? I know you've been on them before, but in your hometown for the the biggest MMA show on the planet. It must be special.
Yeah, it's everything about fighting in London is so beneficial for me. It's obviously I'm 40 minutes from the O2. I can literally sleep in my own bed. I can just live like a normal life and then just go and fight. But for me at the moment, because my daughter's got some health issues, I'd like to be as close to home as possible. And what better place than a 40-minute journey in the car? So Manchester, obviously, I had to sleep there. I had to be away from her for 5 nights, but I'm only 3 hours away or 4 hours away or whatever it is, maybe a bit longer. But traveling abroad at the moment might be a little bit difficult for me with her, or it might be a little bit difficult to focus on a fight when my daughter's, at home with some stuff going on. So, being at home with her 24/7, other than just going to training and, just obviously leaving her on fight day to go and have a fight, it's easy, man. This is making my life so much easier. So I am very blessed that obviously the UFC put me on the London card. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to going in there, doing what I love to do and coming home with a paycheck.
Yeah, and talk to you about that kind of, family life fighter balance you've got going on. Because I know some people, they like to get away from the family and, really zone into that fighter mindset. That's not something that's on the cards for you, but it sounds like being close to home kind of gives you that peace of mind where you can always just, go into the gym, be a savage, and then pop back home and be dad.
Yeah, mate, I don't like being away from my family, not in the slightest. I remember Brad Pickett, my coach, he used to like it. He would go away, he would have a 6 week camp away from his family, and it got him in the mindset. And it's time to fight. And for me, I don't, man. I love fighting. I love my family. I love being at home. I can wake up in the morning, go walk the dog, feed my daughter, and then go and have a fight in the evening at the O2, and then go back home and have pizza. It's the most for me. Fighting's all. It's not hard work. It's not a chore. I know there's some fighters out there. I don't think they like fighting. I think maybe they've fallen into it as a career path, and it's kind of like I've just got to fight to earn the money. For me, I would do it for free. So yeah, for me, I don't want to suffer and spend 8 weeks, 6 weeks away from my family, from my team, from my coaches. I want to be at home, go and see my mates, go and see my family, just live a normal life, and then come Saturday night, go and fight in front of 20,000 people, and then go back to normal. So yeah, I'm a little bit different to other people. I think I think most people do like to really get into that mind zone, and been away for 8 weeks, and we're gonna fight. And for me, I'm like, it's another day of the week.
Nice. And talk to me about your opponent, Morgan Charrière. He's a relative newcomer to the UFC, but I'd imagine he's kind of been on your radar for a little while, considering he was in Cage Warriors. He was making a bit of noise there. What you make of him?
Morgan, very talented, very good fighter. I've been seeing him fight for many years now. I've had him on Instagram for a long time. We're cool as far as I'm concerned. He's a very talented athlete, and I've got nothing bad to say about him, and I've got no criticism towards him. I do believe that I'm the better fighter. I believe that I am the more experienced. Well, I am the more experienced fighter. I believe I'm um, better in all areas, but that's not because he's bad in any areas. I just believe that I'm better. Um, he's a great opponent to have in the sense where he's got a massive following. He's a huge name in France. He brings obviously a lot of eyes to the fight. So for someone who's only had, I think it's 4 or 3 UFC fights, he's got a lot of eyes on him, which is perfect. I'd rather that than the UFC say you're fighting someone that no one's ever heard of, no one cares about. Um, so it's going to be an exciting fight, and he's very talented. He's very game. So You know, I've been training obviously like it's a title fight. You know, I've been training like it's the toughest fight of my life, which, you know, every fight is the toughest fight of your life when you're coming up to it. So I'm looking forward to it. You know, he's a great opponent to share the octagon with, and hopefully we can put on a good show for the crowd.
Yeah, and talking of the crowd, obviously home advantage to yourself. You will have, the vast majority behind you. Morgan's kind of known for bringing kind of that legion of French fans over, and they do make some noise. 'Cause I'm going to be
Yeah.
there. I'm expecting it to really pop off by the time you two get in the cage. Does that just add a little bit more of a, I don't know, just a bit more of zest to the fight, rather than knowing that not everyone might not be on your side, even though your hometown. There's going to be a good
Hmm.
contingent coming over.
For me, I just need noise. When I fought Charles Jourdain in Paris, I got booed the hell out of, and I loved it. Man, I was like, there's a vibe, you know. I would rather them boo the hell out of me or cheer the hell out of me than just be dead silent. You know, if I went into an arena and there was like not the Apex, Fight Island. When I went into Fight Island and it's just like there's no crowd and it's just quiet, it's just weird. When you've got boos, cheers, I just if they're booing me, I'll just pretend they're booing him. You know, I can just get into that mindset. As long as there's an atmosphere, as long as there's noise, that's when I thrive. Um, so I can't wait for it. You know, obviously, if he brings a good crowd and they're obviously absolutely screaming their lungs out, then amazing. You know, we just make even more of a fight and even more of a bang. So, yeah, I want obviously everyone in that crowd to just be enjoying the moment, you know, from the walkout to the finish. I want them to come away and go, wow, you know, that was a good atmosphere. Um, so, yeah, man, I'm buzzing for it, honestly.
And you touched on just a word there, finish. Is that something you'll be hunting for in this one? Just sorry to point it out, but I think it's been since like 2019, the last one in UFC for you. I'm sure, with bonus on the line and as you said earlier, a family to look after. You'd love that little 50K to be added to your check.
Yeah, definitely. You always want to get the finish. The last few fights I've had, I've been very close. Um, Sometimes in the fight, I don't know what the word is. Maybe you just don't feel like it's there. You watch the fight back and like with Daniel Pineda, and I'm like, oh, the finish was there. But in the moment, sometimes you're not thinking for that split second, and you give them a second to get off the hook. So yeah, obviously, I'm definitely going to be looking for the finish, but I'm not going to be rushing it. You know, there's many fights that I've had where I've put myself in danger because I'm too eager to entertain and get a finish and, go for the knockout. I'm trying to now play it smart. I would definitely say I'm a 5 round fighter. If I fought anyone that I fought at 145 in a 5 rounder, I believe that I would have finished every single one of them. Even Mohamed Naimov, who beat me, I had him on his last legs. He just survived that last 5 seconds by holding the inside of my glove. So for me now, it's about being smart because, I can't afford to just go in too hasty and get caught. I've got to be smart, respect my opponents, and I'm hoping that obviously the finish or the submission, the opportunity will come. Um, but yeah, I'm not the guy anymore that will just go straight in for the kill and end up getting caught, if that makes sense. But I like to put an insane crowd, I think every fight that I've had that's gone to the decision has been entertaining, so sometimes, yeah, a 10-second knockout would be great, but surely the crowd want a bit more of a fight, so hopefully it's a good fight, and then come the second round or the third round, I get a KO win.
Yeah, and whatever you're doing, it's working well because since that featherweight move, it's 4-1 as you mentioned. Name of
Yeah.
just about got out of there alive. So happy with that move to 145. Confident that this is the vision for you.
Yeah, definitely. And not many people know I actually fought 145 on Bellator about uh, 8, 10 years ago, a long time ago. And I felt great at 145, but the opportunities were all at 135 for me. I got offered a fight against Von Lee on Cage Warriors, then I got the title shot on Cage Warriors, and I just kind of fell into that trap and just kind of felt like I belonged at 135. But after having a couple of years layoff with injuries, I'm like, man, the party's moved on. Everyone's moving on and going up the rankings. So I'm going to start afresh at 145, enjoy my life. I can go out for the missus for dinner and actually give my kidneys a bit of a break instead of just draining them all the time. And yes, my opponent's going to have a slight weight advantage, but I'm happy with that. You know, I've got the speed advantage, and if someone beats me because of a couple of kilos, then, you know, they can have that. I'll say that they're the better man.
Yeah, and talking about the division, what is next for you? Because you go in here, make yourself 5-1 at featherweight, and it just seems like
Mm-hmm.
it's a matter of time before you're in. You know, you're a contender. Obviously, nicknames the prospect, but we want you to be pushing towards them 5-round fights and things like that. How far off do you think you are from moving into the upper echelons of the division?
If I'm honest, with the way that, however these rankings work, I would not have a clue. You know, I was surprised that Lerone got ranked when he did, after beating Josh, and then I beat Andre Feely the same night, and I was like, how's that work? But um, if I'm honest, bro, I don't care about the rankings anymore. I would love to fight for a UFC title one day. Until I get to that number one spot, you're next in line. Nothing else really matters. For me, it's just, who am I fighting? Cool. How much am I getting paid? Sweet. Let's get it on. And then when the UFC say, right, the opportunities come, you can now fight for a belt. Great, I'll take it. But yeah, I think when I got to the UFC, I put too much pressure on rankings and politics and, you know, this and that. And I'm like, man, I'm just here to fight, get a win, get paid, go home, enjoy my life, and that's it. You know, if someone behind a keyboard that says I'm ranked wherever I'm ranked, you can say that if you want, you know. But um, yeah, until I get to that title shot, I mean, nothing else really bothers me, to be fair.
Yeah, and you keep winning, and I'm sure all that stuff will come anyway. So, looking to the top, it's kind of all changing. It's an exciting time at the top of the division at 145.
Yeah.
Ilia Topuria vacating his title and announcing a move to lightweight, hopefully. What do you make of that move?
I think he should have done it. If I'm honest, I look at him and he is obviously a mega superstar. You know, he's got 6 million followers or something. He's got Real Madrid promoting him. Obviously, he's a massive name in Spain. And then he's got a hell of a lot of money from what I've seen. So why not move up, be more comfortable, actually enjoy your life without having to deplete yourself? And I imagine that they would probably make a title fight for him versus Islam pretty quick. So yeah, I remember seeing something about him not wanting to fight much longer than sort of 30-ish years old. So if that's the case, move up, man, you know, and just get these big fights. And let's be honest, who's not going to watch that fight? So yeah, I imagine that they're gonna do it. It's gonna be a massive pay-per-view card, and good luck to him, man. You know, so I think the featherweight division now is going to be a little bit lost. I think the belt's going to be bounced about. If I'm honest, I think Lopez will beat Volkanovski. Then I think Mosva will fight and beat Lopez, and I think it's going to be like that for a while. So yeah, now that Ilia Topuria has moved up, I think that a lot more things are going to be happening in the featherweight division.
Yeah, and just to stay on Ilya for a second, do you think he's done enough to kind of stamp his mark on the division in terms of an all-time great? Obviously, back-to-back legends he knocked out, you know, so impressively, but it was kind of win the title, defend it once, and then bounce. So when you're thinking about the best, you know, Aldo, McGregor, Volkanovski, Max Holloway, where would you
Mhm.
rank him within them?
So I do think that he's done enough on paper, knocking out Volkanovski, knocking out Max Holloway. Now, the only counter to that is I would say Volkanovski's on his way out, wasn't in his prime. I would say that Max isn't in his prime. However, Ilia Topuria smashed everyone going up the rankings. So, you know, when he walked in with Bryce Mitchell, absolutely smoked him. Obviously, he did get caught by Jai Herbert, but I mean, it's MMA, so anyone can get caught. So I think the resume speaks for itself. I think that him being undefeated as well does a lot. Um, so yeah, I think he's done enough. I do think that champions should have to stay in their division and fight a lot more often until they move up or down. However, with him having such a big name, if he's looking for the money fights and he's not looking to fight for years to come, you may as well move up and get these absolute paydays, you know, because at the end of the day, it is an entertainment business as well. And I know what it's like cutting a lot of weight. So you got to put your health first. And if that's what he thinks he's got to do, then, you know, so be it.
Absolutely. And just finally, another Englishman, Lerone Murphy, we mentioned him earlier. He's got a big fight coming up with Josh Emmett. Arguably, pound for pound, one of the biggest punches on the roster. How do you see that one going?
I think Lerone beats him everywhere unless he gets caught. Obviously, Josh Emmett, massive talent, not going to take anything away from him, but he is 40 years old, I think, now. So, you know, I think that age is going to play a big factor in it. But he's obviously got that absolute haymaker. So, yeah, I think Lerone wins decision. Yeah, so good luck to him. Good fight for him, to be fair. You know, it's I think it's a very winnable fight in that top 10.
Brilliant. It's very exciting at times of featherweight and starting with your fight in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks for your time today, Nathaniel. I wish you good luck with the rest of the camp and the
Pleasure.
family and the fight night and everything you've got going on. Hopefully we'll speak again soon.
Diamond, mate. Thank you for having me.